we mentioned that, Crystal, you weren't scared of death. That wasn't the number one fear. What was the number one fear?
Death is inevitable. I always tell people, don't take life so serious because no one gets out alive. I was more afraid of a life without living. We're all, I hate to be a downer because you have a great inspirational show, but the reality is we all know we're going to die. So what are you going to do with your life? And I would be afraid to die and not having done all the things that I've always wanted to.
I see that as
if you want to write a book, write a book. If you want to see the world, see the world. Life really is too short.
Well, and that's the other side of death is that it is a call, especially when you face death in the way that you did, to live. I mean, I think that's a beautiful way of interpreting. One of the things I really admire about what everything I've heard you say and what I've read about you is that you really do have this way of, you mentioned before, it's the half full, half empty kind of perspective, and it's powerful. And I wonder, was that something you always had, or are there some events in your life that sort of triggered that kind of thinking?
I haven't always been this optimistic. I lost my father to a tragic accident when I was a teenager. So losing one of the most important people who shaped my childhood, that was very devastating and traumatic. And actually, for years after my father's death, I was a little bitter, and I think I was very negative. And then being a single woman for, 35 years, I was a little bitter at the world. I was bitter at men. But then I had to realize it was some of the choices that I was making. A lot of people always talk about, I have all this drama in my life, but they don't realize a lot of that drama is self-induced.
Absolutely.
So I had to start being a positive beacon so that I could bring light into my life. Being negative and being pessimistic, it's not going to get you anywhere. And I have a young survivor I met who is a stage 4 breast cancer patient. And when you say stage 4, most people get really quiet. They don't know how to respond to that. It means you're living with metastatic breast cancer that has spread to other parts of your body, and your prognosis is not good. But this young woman has a great sense of humor. She has a bubbly personality. She has a lot of hope and faith. And there are women who are 9, 10 years stage 4.
Wow.
So this young lady can either sit around and be sad every day, I'm dying, I have stage 4 breast cancer, or she can live with stage 4 breast cancer. And that's the difference to me in being optimistic and pessimistic as it relates to cancer.
No, that's great. And the idea that you've bonded with other survivors, and it's almost like there's a new community of people that you are now part of.
Yes, I'm friends with women who more than likely not, I wouldn't have been friends with. I'm friends with a PhD in West Virginia. I've never even been to West Virginia, but we bonded over breast cancer. You meet so many different women from different walks of life. You may be a Democrat, they're a Republican, you're black, you're white. None of that matters. What matters is that special sisterhood of being a breast cancer survivor.
And in fact, that's one of the charities that you support is the Sisters Network.
Sisters Network and Susan G. Komen for the Cure. Being a part of an organization gives you the support that you need. It allows opportunities for you to get involved in a volunteer capacity. You can help fund research and programs that help other patients. So I highly recommend that people find an organization, whether it's the American Cancer Society, Live Strong, Pink Door Organization, the Pink Ribbon Project. You can Google and probably find pages of organizations right there in your local community.
Yeah, that's right. Now, one of the things that I think you can help us with, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but when someone is diagnosed with cancer, and it's always hard for people to know what to say to them. I mean, can you help us a little with that? I just trust your wisdom on this. How does someone, we've all had people in our lives, and it's such an awkward experience. How does one...
It's very awkward.
Yeah, how do we support someone? What do you say when someone... Do you have any tips for us?
Well, since I work in public relations, the first thing I did, I kind of had to do a crisis communications plan for myself. I sent out a letter to all of my clients notifying them that I had breast cancer and what my short and long-term treatment plans were. And luckily, I had most of my clients that believed in me, that knew I was going to get well, that didn't take the business away. And those that did, I respect their decision. In business, it's never personal.
Right.
I was very disappointed in the lack of support that some of my so-called friends and even family gave me. I had lifelong friends that never sent an email, a card, never picked up the phone. And now that I'm 3 years out, they're in my life again, and they kind of want to pretend everything's fine, but we've never even addressed the cancer. And I do have a problem with that. I think the first thing that you can say when someone tells you that they have cancer is to offer them support. Is there anything I can do for you? How are you feeling? What do you need from me? Because, there's, from a medical standpoint, there's nothing that you can do. Obviously, you can't do the surgery. You can't do the chemo or radiation, but you can be there for them.
Sure.
You can be a sounding board. When I was on chemotherapy, there were days that I didn't feel like getting out of bed. It would have been great if someone had brought over a casserole or offered to take my daughter for ice cream, offered to walk the dog. You don't have to spend money to be a support system for someone when they really need it.